is 3 o'clock. Welcome in to Queen City News Plus Live on this hump day, halfway through the week. It's February 25th. All right, I'm going to need you guys to kind of level up with your energy.
Yeah, an unusual amount of enthusiasm coming from you this week.
Hey, I'm feeling better than yesterday.
Yeah,
okay,
true.
The cough drops are kicking in, and I think it's going to be a good show. So I am Morgan Francis, joined by Derek Dellinger, meteorologist Andrew Brightman, and of course, Austin McCullum.
I will say, you're kind of, I love the dress. You're kind of like a highlighter in this like sea of white.
White,
got a highlighter, and I'm
white,
wearing
a little bit of blue, a little bit of several colors.
Yeah.
It's called a little bit of color pop, guys. You know,
On Wednesday,
learn a lesson
well,
here.
on Wednesdays, you wear pink.
Yeah, exactly. There you go, Derek. Thank you.
This is true.
All right, let's kick things off with the State of the Union address last night. It was historic. It was the longest State of the Union address in history.
1 hour 47 minutes, I think it was. Yes.
I counted 1 hour 48.
Yes. Well, somewhere around there.
We're very specific in
it was
broadcast.
around that time. There were a lot of points that were actually made last night by President Trump on Iran. He noted the negotiations that were still happening over their nuclear program. We will get more into that in just a second. But he also touted the economy, even though many Americans say that they are actually disapproving of his handling on inflation specifically. Also, immigration was brought up, also Supreme Court, elections. He did actually say, at least during the address, he was still,
He said it should have been his third term when he was talking about his second term.
Yes.
Kind of
and he was still going, basically making his claims about the 2020 election, even though those claims have so far, we should mention here, have been unfounded. There was also the Democratic response last night, their basic argument was, hey, are things better indeed under President Trump? And they are basically going to be taking that message to the midterms.
This is essentially one of the big underlying reasons for State of the Union is to rally Americans behind the president under his first year. And obviously we have the midterms right around the corner, and he's trying to kind of get his base in order to hopefully, do well in the midterm election. I don't think there were any huge surprises from either side. Of course, he's going to talk about the economy, the stock market with record highs, but of course did not mention some of the economic hardships that people are feeling when it comes to just the overall cost of living. Talked about immigration and the border. He also, pointed to Democrats throughout the speech in a very Trump-like manner of when they chose not to stand up.
And they did not choose to stand for a good portion of the
which is what we typically see,
Yes.
right? But there was one thing that stood out when he was talking about immigration, saying, Stan, if you agree with this, the first duty of the American government is to protect American citizens and not illegal aliens. Most Democrats remained seated during that, and Trump made a point to say you should be ashamed of yourselves. Of course, immigration has been the hot topic lately with everything that's happened out of Minneapolis and the 2 U.S. citizens who were shot by ICE agents there. So, the holding up of Homeland Security funds as well. So it's been a hot topic lately.
Yeah, there was one moment from the State of the Union that did have a bit of a local impact. In fact, the Irina Zarutska was brought up. Let's take a listen to what the president had to say.
She had escaped a brutal war only to be slain by a hardened criminal, set free to kill in America, came in through open borders. Mrs. Zarutska, tonight I promise you we will ensure justice for your magnificent daughter, Irina.
You can tell she's obviously extremely emotional. What happened to Irina Zarutska, as we all know, is just absolutely horrific. One correction, though, he did say incorrectly that the suspect came in through open borders. We know that
was not the case.
He was a citizen, but did have some mental health struggles and had been in and out of jail a number of times.
Yes, the death of Irina Zarutska, you might remember, she was stabbed on the light rail late last year, and it led to a bunch of national and international attention. The suspect in that case still in jail, and by the way, we should not only mention is an American citizen, was born in America, and is also had a bit of a criminal record. However, his criminal record for his most recent arrest before this was for misuse of 911, but there were some apparent mental health issues there, and we should mention that was kind of the case, at least with that. However, as a result of what happened with Irina Zurutska, we should mention as well, this has led to some CATS changes, and some of those CATS changes have actually started to be seen. In fact, as you can see right there, some new postering as well as some announcements, and a text tip line has been opened for CATS for CATS writers at least to say, hey, there's something going on. This is a way to stay in touch.
Yeah, and you may remember that in the wake of Zarutska's murder, the Federal Transit Administration detailed some systemic failures at CATS. I believe there were 18 failures, federally mandated safety requirements that the system did not meet. So since then, CATS has been going through and making improvements, which we have detailed on past Queen City News Plus live shows. But this is one of them, essentially. And there are posters that have gone up telling people they used to have a tip line that they could text if there were any issues, in addition to, of course, 911. But now it's right on the homepage of ridetransit.org, so passengers can essentially share real-time information.
Yes, it's also on the CATS Pass mobile app for those who use that. But yeah, they are emphasizing the need of like, hey, if there is something that is out there that looks suspicious, that be basically erring on the side of caution here, at least report what you need to there, and all that information is up, especially if you're going to be at any light rail stop, or for that matter, any bus stop as well. Some of that stuff's going to be at least, even if not on the signage, just not on the buses, near the bus stops as well.
Right. Sticking to what President Trump discussed in his State of the Union address, he also warned Iran on their nuclear threat in the State of the Union address, said that he really hasn't heard what he wants to hear from Iran, which is, we will never have a nuclear weapon. On the flip side, earlier on Tuesday, Iranian foreign minister wrote on X, our fundamental convictions are crystal clear. Iran will, under no circumstances, ever develop a nuclear weapon. Now,
the discussions between Iran and the U.S. have been basically over Iran's nuclear program, which they have claimed is more for nuclear power than it is anything else. And they pushed back on missile nuclear programs in the country, calling what President Trump said last night as propaganda. Iranian officials have said any act of aggression like a strike, which has been discussed about, and we've been talking about this actually for a couple of weeks, the potential of airstrikes against Iran, it will be met with force. But again, they're basically saying, hey, it's like we don't have any plans. Iran's basically saying right now they don't have any plans to develop nuclear weapons, but there is a concern that, at least on the U.S. side, that claim is being taken with a large grain of salt.
Right, and they haven't been able to come to an agreement. So Iran says that they're only interested in discussing the nuclear issue, but not its ballistic missile program and the support of terrorist organizations. So as of last check, they are at kind of an impasse here. It doesn't sound like these two sides are coming to an agreement at this point. And as we know, Trump has threatened military action if they don't reach some sort of a deal.
Yeah. Let's talk about some of the other news that's out there today. Casey Means, nominee for Surgeon General. She is basically had some testimony a little bit earlier this morning, also faced some questions. She is a wellness influencer, entrepreneur. She was a practicing physician. Her physician's license is not currently active. She also has no government experience, but all of that was being taken into consideration with some of her questions today.
She's kind of an unconventional pick, not necessarily for the Trump administration, right? Because a lot of what her views are align with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. But as you mentioned, she did graduate from med school, dropped out of her surgical residency program at Oregon Health and Science University in 2018, and has kind of cited her belief that the healthcare system is broken. Again, that kind of aligns with the views of Robert F. Kennedy and Make America Healthy Again initiative. And she started her own functional medicine program in Oregon. During this confirmation hearing, they did ask her what she thought about vaccines contributing to autism. She says that she accepts that evidence, saying that the science is never settled and looks forward to seeing the results of the federal health department's effort to study contributors to the disorder.
Yeah, she also faced questions on birth control because there have been some statements that she made about hormonal birth control, more specifically, and her statements about that did wrangle a few feathers on the Democratic side. So it's still very much up in the air as to whether or not she will get confirmed. And considering how everything is in Congress right now, it's still very much there are still some questions, shall we say, that are in regards to her qualifications.
Right. Let's get to the latest with the drought conditions in the Carolinas here, because we are in significant drought territory.
Yes.
I mean, we need like 10 inches of rain in a month to pull out of this.
And this is despite the perception that we've had quite a bit of weather lately, of weather of different types, and
snow and
and it's
freezing
like,
rain.
all that snow does not necessarily mean we're out of the woods as far as a drought is concerned.
Yeah.
It's just like we still have a bunch to make up.
It sounds like we're going to get a little bit of help, but we'll have to go to the experts to see whether or not it's going to make a difference.
Well, what do you know? We have one of these
them
experts
is,
in this room
has
right
his
now.
chair turned toward me, was staring at me.
What are you guys talking about drought and weather? That's my role. I don't
yes.
start chiming in about, the Surgeon General nomination.
I mean,
Andrew,
nothing's stopping you.
This is an underhand pitch to you.
Yes. By the way, this is a look at Independence Boulevard right now, and what it's been a bit of a cloudy day, but a little bit warmer than what we saw, well, for that matter, past couple of days.
Yeah.
59 degrees right
But
now.
the super there
Andrew
says
Brightman here.
possible rain tomorrow.
Yeah,
Andrew, is that an okay prediction for us to make?
Can we say it?
Guys.
Can we say
I'll
it?
allow it to pass through. No, but Derek was saying, the different type of precipitation types not getting us out of the woods. I mean, if we go back to the big snowstorm that we had, we picked up 11.4 inches at the airport. Biggest snowstorm since 2004. But when you actually convert it to the liquid, because of how dry and powdery that snow was, it only worked itself out to about 4/4500th of an inch of liquid.
Okay, that's what I was calculating too, right around there.
Dude, you guys are good at math. I mean, you do turnkey, Morgan. You working out all the mortgage numbers here, the interest rates. I mean, you almost got to have a math degree to do some of that stuff.
Pretty
but
much.
but that just gets to the point here. We need a lot more wet weather here across the Carolinas. Just haven't been getting. We'll get some here on the way as we go throughout your Thursday, as Morgan was talking about. Warm weather. You want to play some golf a little bit this weekend, Morgan?
Yes,
that
sir.
is going to be the time to do it. 61 degrees, feeling nice. Not quite shorts weather yet, Derek, but again, that's likely on the way here as we look down the road.
Too well.
Yeah. Winds out of the south-southwest at about 15 to 20 miles an hour. Boone camera, we got sunshine looking good here across the Carolinas. Radar, not much going on right now. We got beautiful weather, but we zoom out off to our north and west, weakening frontal boundary. Not going to bring us certainly cooler weather, but just going to bring us the moisture into the Carolinas once we get to your Thursday. And as Morgan and Derek were talking about, we really need some of this moisture. Notice basically the entirety of the Carolinas is under a severe drought, and we're starting to see that extreme drought pop up off to our east and around Albemarle, Monroe, and Concord. And at least 10 inches of rain over the next month, or about 16 inches of rain over the next 3 months to really completely eliminate the drought conditions that we're seeing across the region. We don't see that type of moisture on the way, at least over the next few weeks or so across the Carolinas. But what's on the way tomorrow certainly will be helpful. Temperatures right now elsewhere across the Carolinas, we've got a lot of upper 50s to lower 60s, and then low to mid 50s as we get on up into the mountains. So coming up in a few minutes here with my full forecast, going to be talking more about the wet weather on the way for your Thursday and just some of those spectacular conditions we're tracking for your weekend.
Ooh, excited to hear about that. Thanks, Andrew.
Sure.
Have you heard of those self-driving cars?
Well, yes, Morgan. Yes, I have.
I have. Maybe.
We keep hearing about them in other cities.
But now they're coming to Charlotte.
Yeah.
We're going to have more information about Waymo and what you can expect coming up in just a little bit. More Queen City News Plus Live after this.
3:15. This is Queen City News Plus live on a Wednesday. Yes, it is Wednesday as we take a look at, just outside the station here. This is from our tower cam. Interstate 85 at Sam Wilson Road. Traffic is going pretty smoothly on 85 right now, so and it's still going a little slow. So if you're going to be heading out in the next little bit, just a heads up. We do want to tell you a little bit about, we've been telling you about for quite a while, in fact, about AI and kind of how big of a deal it is. And we could be getting just a sense of as to whether or not this thing is still gangbusters or whether or not we're starting to see a bit of a bubble.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the big question mark is there going to be an AI bubble? If there is, when is it going to happen? So NVIDIA is releasing its quarter earnings today. It's the artificial intelligence chip maker.
Yes.
It comes as Wall Street has really gotten into anti-AI trade. Well, what does that mean? So Goldman Sachs has introduced an everything but AI index, allowing investors to invest in basically anything that's not AI, all in one package.
Yes.
And then you've got companies that are they're betting on companies that are a little more AI proof. So for instance, Delta Airlines versus Expedia, because Delta has the actual planes. Expedia can be replaced by AI. So anyways, industry analysts are projecting that NVIDIA's revenue will total $66.1 billion, a 68% increase from the previous year. So a lot of people who are investing in AI with their fingers crossed at this point.
Insane. I mean, just insane numbers.
Yes. And they're forecasting really good numbers. The thing about it is that how good are those really good numbers going to be? Now, if it's going to be like 60 to 70%, then everything's still going on. If it's going to be a little bit softer than that, there could be a sign that things are either slowing down or AI has reached its peak. The thing about it is, though, is that you have to understand NVIDIA very specifically. They are the AI chip makers right now. If you have anything AI, if you deal with anything AI, if you use ChatGPT, if you use Copilot, if you use really anything right now, it's making use of specific types of chips which are made by this company.
And the impact to just the general consumer market. I mean, a lot of people who, again, because I play video games, but people who wanted to get a Switch 2 from Nintendo, or I know Valve had talked about delaying the release of its new at-home Stream Deck. I mean, most of these products are being pushed back or delayed indefinitely right now because the companies can't get the chips.
And the reason the companies can't get the chips is because so much is being dedicated towards AI right now, and these specific types of chips that actually that basically make all this work.
Yeah. By the way, NVIDIA stock is up 2% today, 55% over the past year, and 4.3% year to date.
Speaking of those chips, you probably are going to be seeing them in some of these driverless cars. And before the break, we actually teased the fact that this thing is actually coming to Charlotte. And yes, it is. They are testing them out here in Charlotte.
Is that the video that Jen shot
yes.
today?
Yes.
Okay, Jen Cardone, she's putting a story together for Queen City News at 4, 5, and 6. Really interested in seeing that.
Yes.
She might be one of the very few who is allowed to get in the driver's seat of a Waymo, because most riders won't be allowed to sit there. But.
Yes, Waymo confirmed that they had a recent small fleet of vehicles that arrived in town, and for now it's mapping, testing out, kind of doing what it kind of needs to get familiar with the Charlotte surroundings, and also make sure that it actually works within Charlotte without too much of an issue and too much interference with any other thing that's kind of going around. But they also recently launched in Orlando, Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, around 10 metro areas. And there have been discussion for a while as to whether or not Charlotte was actually going to be one of those cities that was going to be it. And now we have our answer.
So here's a question I had that got answered today. What you might remember when the Lime bikes and the Lime scooters came to town.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't ask for permission; they asked for forgiveness. And all of a sudden, you turned around, there were all these scooters and bicycles everywhere. And City Council was kind of scrambling to come up with some sort of an ordinance or guidelines for this company. So my question was, did Waymo go through this, right? And what are the avenues? So I asked Jen about this. She said they basically the state created a committee in 2017 that basically allowed these types of driverless services to come here. And ever since then, they've been waiting for the companies to launch the program. So they've been able to do this for quite some time. It's just now they're finally doing it.
Yes, and I think there's kind of also a question too as to how different these things are from, shall we say, what you get on Uber and Lyft if you actually use that within town. And I think in theory it's supposed to be kind of pretty much the same principle, at least having the legalities as far as that's concerned. But the thing about it is,
there are some safety concerns too, because there have been some of the vehicles that have gone past school buses and stuff. So the technology isn't perfect.
Yeah, and there have been some of these driverless cars that have caused traffic accidents that have hit people, and so it's shall we say is something that people have to keep bearing in mind. But also it's one of those things where hey, it's in town, and it might be a thing you might see in the near future. The thing about it is, it makes me wonder. It's like, and correct me if I'm wrong here. This is not something you won't be able to order on Uber or Lyft. It's like you have to specifically ask for a
service.
It's its own app that you'll order through.
Yeah. So okay.
Very interesting for sure.
Yes. Off to Florida, real quick, and there are a bunch of brush fires out there. If I'm not mistaken, this is out of an area that you and me might be familiar with, Ochopee, Florida.
Yeah.
Yes, because this was down in Southwest Florida. We were one-time residents at different times. At different times, yes. But the brush fire down there is right now around 25,000 acres, and they are anticipating quite a bit more across the state. In fact, closer to Orlando,
Daytona Beach. I mean, they're experiencing Here's the
very
thing:
dry
as
conditions.
we get closer to the back end of winter, there things are extremely dry. They've
Yes.
also had, winter-like temperatures have killed a lot of the vegetation,
Yeah,
and
that
that
too.
just acts as kindling for any sort of a spark. So it wouldn't be uncommon in any given year to see brush fires along the road, but obviously they can spread so quickly this time of year, which is one of the concerns right now.
Yes, and cold by Florida standards, and we're talking about like 50, 60 degrees. But
Iguanas, dropping from the trees.
yeah, you've heard the stories about that, but we're talking about 50, 60-degree temperatures, sometimes in the 40s.
Yeah.
And you have to keep in mind that's not something that area of the country normally sees. So when that does happen, that can kill some of the wildlife, that can kill some of the vegetation, and that can also lead to kind of what we're seeing here. And so it's
And a
gonna
lot
be
of burn
problem for
bans
next little
across
bit.
the state right now.
Yes, yes. And the smell of that stuff, judging from someone who has covered many a brush fire down in Florida, it is not pleasant.
Yeah, you get home at night and it's like, ugh,
It
may as well
stays
burn
with
the
you for 2
clothes
days.
themselves.
For 2 days afterwards. Yeah.
Let's get a check of our own forecast because we are in need of a little bit of rain. But as you can see
We
on
are.
your screen, it is beautiful out there right now, and we have
is.
a warm up on the way. Gulf-like weather, as Andrew likes to say.
And a good weekend. A good
Yes.
weekend, hopefully. Cross fingers.
All true. And yeah, you want to savor some of this weather. It's going to be on the way this weekend. Morgan and Derek, I mean, going to be incredible out there. We see those temperatures heading up eventually into the 70s here. Right now, though, about 61 degrees this afternoon here. Winds out of the south-southwest, a little bit more cloud cover. Up in the mountains, going to see more of that rolling in here as we go throughout the rest of your Wednesday. Pinpoint satellite imagery here across the Carolinas, seeing that cloud cover roll on in across the region. Not too much wet weather yet. That will be changing, though. Pinpoint radar here. We start off with dry conditions. Zooming out, we got the front off to our north and west. That eventually is what's going to be pushing in here as we go into your Thursday. Temperatures across the southeast, already places like Memphis and Nashville in the mid-60s, 70 currently in Jackson. Only going to be getting warmer from there, everyone. The overall rainfall potential kind of got this jet stream directly over the Carolinas and really going to be stalling out. Nothing really to push the moisture out, which is why we're expecting kind of a prolonged period of rain tomorrow versus just kind of a quick band that moves through as we go through maybe the morning rush. Let's talk about it here with future casts as we go throughout this evening into the overnight hours. Notice the rainfall starting to move in here across the Carolinas. We go into your Thursday morning. We got the rainfall to start, and as we go throughout the day here, it's kind of a dreary day. That moisture sort of stalling out. Another wave of wet weather might start to dry out a little bit here as we get to the mid-late afternoon hours. On your Thursday, a little bit of clearing here as we head into your Thursday evening. And then could see even a little bit more here on Friday. Not going to be quite done with the wet weather across the Santos, though Charlotte, for the most part, should stay dry. Temperatures expected in the lower 60s. And then what you've all been waiting for is the forecast for this weekend here. Saturday morning, we're starting off temperatures upper 50s, making a beeline here into the mid to upper 60s during the afternoon hours and heading into your Saturday evening. Going to be a wonderful, wonderful couple of days of weather here across the Carolinas. Rainfall totals right now, heaviest north of Charlotte. I still think generally here in the QC should pick up about a half inch or so of rain. So we're going to go down from needing 10 inches in a month to maybe about 9.5 or so in Charlotte to get fully rid of the drought. Just continuing to put things in perspective with how dry it has been. Weekend forecast here. We've got the pleasant weekend. I mean, incredible to be outside really both Saturday and Sunday here. Temperatures low to mid 70s. Does not get much better this time of year. Dog walking forecast this afternoon into the evening hours. Temperatures hovering around the 60-degree mark and then eventually heading on down into the 50s with that weather expected. Your pinpoint 7-day forecast here. We've got some scattered showers and rainfall on the way for your Thursday and then heading into the weekend into next week. We've got some very warm weather before kind of back to average here Monday and Tuesday.
I love seeing the 72 on there.
Isn't
Yes.
That is like
72,
picture
45.
perfect.
Yeah,
Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah, and that 50 for a low on Tuesday. Yeah, I'm not going to complain. Yeah, more Quincy News Plus Live right after this.
So there's this crazy video out of Omaha
Yes.
that a sinkhole essentially swallowed 2 cars.
Watch the 2 cars that are right at that intersection. Yeah.
Can you imagine
That
the
happened.
confusion of the drivers?
And
Because
then
it's
take a
not
look at
like
the
you
cars
can
behind
see
it. Take a look at the cars behind it.
Yeah. I'm just gonna back
get
up
out
a
of
little
there.
bit.
Yep. So that's both of them backed up. Good for them.
You know, it took
So,
them
yeah.
long enough.
Yeah.
You
so
would think that
I
they
really
would,
like the car that turns and you can see it backing up. It's like, whoa, I don't want to get into this right now.
It's like
Yeah, no kidding.
So yeah, this happened yesterday in Omaha. And this whole road, by the way, is blocked off currently. And this is actually another view of, if I'm not mistaken, of this that was going to be coming up here. You'll see in just a moment. But yeah,
what do you do in a situation like that? Like that's
Well-
something that you don't mentally prepare for. I feel like
Yeah.
any woman going down the street is prepared if they're going to get attacked or something. They know exactly what they're going to do. You never prepare for, what if I'm sitting at a stoplight and my car gets swallowed by a sinkhole?
And once you
Got to think on your feet.
What,
Yeah,
the interesting
exactly.
thing that you see here is you see a woman that was like at that intersection. She was going to see, or a person at the intersection going to see and make sure that everybody was
would not
okay
be
that was in the
anywhere
car.
near.
The other vehicles were backed away. Those other vehicles and those other people that were at that intersection, they were able to help get those people to the drivers that were in the car to safety. So it's
No one
good on
injured,
them.
by the way.
Yeah, no
so
one
that's
injured.
obviously the reason that we're kind of lighthearted
But
about this.
that's a bit of a towing job, and probably need to get some new cars.
Yeah, a bit of a towing job.
Yeah, say the
Hopefully
least.
insurance covers that.
That will do it for us for Queen City News Plus Live on this Wednesday. It's heading towards the end of the week.
You ready for it?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
All right, everyone. Have a good rest of your day.
Queen City News Plus. Just search Queen City News on your smart TV's app store.